Welcome in or welcome back to another episode of You Are the One You Seek. I am your host, David, and today I am reading the chapter The Gatekeepers from the Jeshua channelings. So, if you're not familiar with the series, go back to the beginning, which is, I think the first one I read was Relationships in the New Era, but if you want to go in order of the chapters in the book, you have to start with who is Jeshua. And that one definitely answers a lot of the basic questions of who is the person or entity or whatever that Pamela is channeling here. And Jeshua clearly identifies himself as the biblical Jesus, but also kind of please don't associate me with that guy. Because clearly there was a lot of interference with the Bible when it was written over the course of however many thousands of years. And, you know, I was taught when I grew up a Christian that it was over 2,000 years and inspired, and we had proof of authorship and all this stuff. Come to find out, what they teach in seminary is pretty opposite of that. You know, that there was a Catholic pope who canonized the Bible from 72 books down to 66, and that was Pope Damasus. You know, I was never taught that in church, and now it makes a lot more sense because knowing what the Catholic Church's history is, it's pretty clear that they had an agenda for control and power. And you could see how the words of someone like Jeshua would be twisted so violently by a culture that was so bent on violence and corruption and the idea that we need to worship and outsource our power, that we in and of ourselves are worthless, weak animals. And that's reinforced all throughout the Bible. That is absolutely a big part of why I was in a constant state of suicidal ideation when I was a Christian, because so much of the messaging was how absolutely fundamentally broken I was, and how without begging for forgiveness, I would spend eternity being tortured for my mistake. You know, infinite punishment for a finite misunderstanding. Seems a little extreme, no? But as a little kid, I just had this feeling that the Jesus in the Bible was actually kind of a different guy, or that he was way more expansive in his capacity for grace and love than was described. I just always had a real struggle with the concept of a omniscient, omnipotent, eternal being of grace, love, and wisdom creating something that was so prone to self-destruction that more than half of it would be destroyed forever in a fiery pit of eternal damnation. Like, I'm sorry, but what the you know what I mean? Like that, it's hard for me to overstate how much that damaged me and led to so much just conflict in my heart and struggle within the time I was involved with Christianity for 37 years. You know, and much of that time was deep struggle. So having these channelings and other channelings from Jeshua through other channelers has just been unbelievably transformative to me. Because these are the words that I feel like were in my heart the whole time, hiding in there, waiting to be rediscovered. And, you know, the irony is that, of course, my parents and other people who are still embedded in faith traditions see this kind of stuff as from the devil. Or, you know, channel material is the realm of demons. And I just am like, so you're telling me the infinite God of all things relied on a book that was done being written thousands of years ago to a completely different culture, and that was enough? That was good enough, even though many of us are still like, we don't understand most of this. Can someone please give us a consensus? And of course, anyone you ask has a different opinion on what it means. So this makes a lot more sense that Jesus would come through in channels today to give us updated messages on what this was all about, and to kind of speak to a place and time where humanity is finally willing to embrace even more this idea that we are not these bodies and that there is something more going on, and perhaps it's something that we designed, that we agreed to, and that behind it there's this guiltlessness and divinity that overrides everything. And that this is really just a dream, an experiment, a game, something we did because we could, much like people climb Everest or do skydiving or anything else, because there's an experience to be had. Because why not? Because we can do it. And it doesn't make the pain just like no big deal and the war and destruction, but it makes it not consequential in the long term. It makes it something we can endure because we know it's not even real. It's part of the contrast of the simulation. So anyway, I'm doing my own channeling here of my own beliefs. You came here to listen to Jeshua channel, so I'm going to go ahead and shut my personal yapper and have a few more comments on the back end of this channeling. Again, you can find the book, updated channelings from Jeshua through Pamela, as well as some new books she's written that channel Jeshua on The Forbidden Male Speaks, which is about embracing divine masculinity, as well as embracing your own inner divine feminine energy. And she also has The Forbidden Female Speaks, where she channels Mary Magdalene, and that one to me is really cool because it's a whole other perspective, and I really recommend that one a lot. So yeah, you can check out all of the stuff there at www.yeshua.net. And that's all for now, so please enjoy the channeling. The Gatekeepers. Dear friends, today I am here with joy and pleasure, and I extend a warm welcome to every one of you. Our meeting makes a difference. It is not only a lecture in which you listen to words, but my presence here, which merges with yours, creates an energy space which helps anchor light in the earth. You are the gatekeepers to the light. You are the ones on earth who open the gate to more light, the light of the new era. The old world is gradually passing away. Old structures of power and ego-based consciousness have lost their strength and will gradually sink to the bottom of the ocean. A new society, a new state of being arises, which is based on love and on the values of the heart. You are all so much a part of this transformation. Sometimes you do not realize enough how closely you are associated with this transformation process. Also, your contribution is different from what you often think it is. During this transition from the old to the new, it is you yourself, your own energy body, that is changing. In addition to the physical body you dwell in, you are also a compilation of energy, partly perceptible and partly imperceptible. You are all walking sources of energy. Each of you individually radiates a certain vibration, an energy field which has its effect on the environment, often without you being aware of it. It is this radiation, or energy field, which is the determining factor in everything that happens around you, and all the things you attract into your life. You may also call it a state of being. It is this very state of being which enables the earth changes to take place. For if many groups or individuals change and refine their energy field, this will attract another energetic reality to Earth. This is the global transition which is now taking place and which starts in the individual. Of course, there are many realms around the Earth, astral and spiritual realms, which are willing to help you realize this transformation, this enlightenment. But you are the gatekeepers. You are the ones on Earth who open the gate to the light. If this gate does not open, the light cannot be embedded in the earth. Therefore, it is so important to believe in yourself, to know and to feel inside that you are doing exactly the job for which you came to Earth. All of you are working on the inner level to bring about a spiritual transformation in your being, and this is the very thing that you came for, the inner work of raising your vibration in a world that does not always comply with and sometimes resists your purest intentions. You are the light workers. You are the pioneers of a new era. From love and harmony, you will give birth to the new era in your own heart. In this way, by doing the inner work, you will attract a material reality that is far more beautiful and caring than it has been for many ages. The point is not so much what you do in your daily life or which profession you have. Whether you are a carpenter or a therapist, a homemaker or a professor, it makes no difference. What really matters is your state of being, the energy that you send forth, the energy that you are. It is not what you do, but who you are that is the source of transformation. Now, I would like to ask you to feel the energy here in this room for a moment, to feel the collective energy of all of us together. I can only be here through you. It is when you accept me in your hearts that my energy can flow into you and out through you here on earth. Whenever you open up your heart to me, I come in and let my light shine. But you are the ones who open the gate, and I thank you for that. You are doing the job you came here to do. The earth is changing. From the ashes of the old times, a new world will arise. I would like to say something about how this new era feels inside. I do not so much want to consider the external symptoms, but the inner signs. There is a big transformation going on in your emotional body. The emotional body is very sensitive to fear, to anger and aggression, and to all strong sentiments which easily pull you out of your center. You are all working on the refinement of your emotional body. You are doing this by a process of internalization, taking responsibility for the emotions you feel, examining them, and following them back to their sources. In this process of internalization, you do not search for the causes of your problems in the outside world anymore, but you look for them within yourself. Thus, you take responsibility for your own energy, and that is a big step forward. As soon as you take responsibility for everything that exists inside you, you can become aware of blocked emotions and transform them. This is the very thing you are working on at this time. In the new era, the emotional body will settle down. You will live in a much more intuitive way than you are used to. Your environment will also comply with this intuitive way of living. There will be peace and quiet in your heart. Do you feel how much you are longing for this? I feel and see how you are yearning for a state of awareness in which the energy between you and others can run freely, in which you can openly show your love, in which you can rely on the safety net of the world and the people around you. You long for that state of awareness in which you know that all is well and you can just be who you are. It is a sense of freedom and safety that you long for, and I tell you once again that this energy is completely available to you. But you are the ones who must open the gate to accept that divine energy into your soul. I and many others in the beyond are right next to you to help you and support you. I ask you here and now to feel my energy, to feel that my energy is available to all of you. You are really working on a new birth. Feel the silence in your heart. Feel the inner space that allows you to release the old energies and make way for the new. The freedom which you all are craving is near. Just before the new arrives, there is always a difficult stage, the death struggle of the old. Right before dawn is the darkest hour, when all the old fears come to the surface, all the grief and anger which you have accumulated during your life and the many lives before when there was darkness on earth. All this comes to the surface in order to be integrated. Do not let yourself be deceived by appearances. It is a good sign, a sign of progress, when all this negative energy enters your consciousness. It means that you are strong enough to pass the test. You are all working on the completion of a cycle of lives that has been dominated by an inner struggle between light and dark, between self-awareness and the illusions of power, fear, and ignorance. An appeal is made to all of you to look into the depths of your soul and to rediscover the light, the flame of divine light in there. Now I would like to point out 3 pitfalls which you may encounter releasing the old. They all have to do with the emotional body, and they also are deeply connected to the fact that you are a light worker. Number 1, spiritual anger. The first obstacle is anger. Here I am talking about a type of anger that is actually motivated by a longing for harmony and justice. It is what you might call spiritual anger. I will explain the origin of it. When you started your cycle of lives on earth, you all had an inspiration. This inspiration is strongly connected to the Christ energy. My coming to the earth, the coming of Jeshua or Jesus, was a beacon to you, a source of inspiration. In me, you recognized an energy which you all have inside. In former times, you have all made the decision to anchor this energy on earth. But in the cycle of lives in which you tried to do so, you experienced a lot of resistance. And this has caused harm to the emotional body. The emotional body is nothing else than the child within you. Your inner child is the lively, free part of yourself which spontaneously acts and reacts from its emotions. This child has suffered a lot during the lifetimes in which you sought to accomplish your inner mission of seeding the Christ energy on earth. A part of you is always cosmically inspired, and from the level of your higher self or soul, you know and feel the meaning of all that happens to you. You can see things from a perspective of light and knowledge, but there is another part to you which is your earthly personality. This is the inner child, or your ego. It is your humanness, however you may call it. On this level of you, there can be a lot of fear and a lack of understanding about what is happening to you, even if your soul knows that it is all right and that it serves a higher purpose. During your lifetimes on earth, you were often inspired to plant seeds of light in the form of new ideas or attitudes, but you were frequently misunderstood by your environment. You were rejected, neglected, or even annihilated. From these experiences of being unwelcome, much emotional trauma resulted. The child within you did not understand why it had deserved disapproval. Your soul did not understand, but your earthly self, your emotional body, had to deal with deeply traumatic experiences that arose out of persecution, violence, and disapproval. All of you carry these traumas within you as scars on your soul. You have all come to earth to bring light into this reality, starting from a past history which is quite complicated. For the whole story, see the Lightworker series in the first part of this book or audio. I just need to mention that there was a type of personal karma involved when you decided to start your cycle of lives on Earth. There have been times in which you yourselves were immersed in darkness, living to gain power and control over the Earth souls, among others. Your mission on Earth was to make up for these former lives, to bring back love and justice to humanity. While this inspiration, this torch of light, was burning strongly in your hearts, there was at the same time a lack of understanding in the inner child part of yourself. And therefore, such a thing as spiritual anger arose. The child part inside of you had no understanding of your own karmic contribution to the darkness and projected the evil outside of itself. The child part within you wanted to fight for the good and the just out of emotional motives. The child part inside you had little tolerance for the resistance and slowness of earth reality, and it was impatient. Starting from this child part, spiritual anger was born. Spiritual anger means that you can be immensely affected by the evil of the world, by the suffering of innocent people, by the destruction of the earth, by the wrecking of the plants, the trees, and the animal world. All these things, political and social inequality, the apparently unnecessary dying of so many children, the wars, the violence, anger you. These are matters which affect you deeply and which can stir up anger inside you, and so you feel powerless. It is characteristic of lightworkers that they let themselves be carried away by this anger and that they go beyond their limits in this regard. They lose themselves in their desire to change and improve the world. This can be a passion to change things on the political or social level, or it may emerge as a desire to help people on a personal level, as a profession or in your private life. The desire to help and change things often comes from a form of spiritual anger, although this may not be noticeable. After all, you seem to simply want the best for someone else or for society. But surely there is anger inside you when you feel inclined to force somebody, no matter how subtly, to change their behavior or emotions. Often, you do not notice that the time is not yet ripe for it. Each time when you feel an intense indignation or an enormous passion to change things, or when you have feelings of powerlessness and anger towards things as they are, you are in the pitfall of spiritual anger. You want too much at once. You are heedless of reality as it is, for you are seized by an emotion, the emotion of anger. I ask you to be aware of this and to let it go, for this kind of inspiration that is charged with anger takes you away from your center. It will not offer you the true inspiration, the peace and quiet in your emotional body that help you embody your light on earth. You achieve the state of truly embodying your light on earth by being entirely centered in your own being, in a pure and calm state of mind. In this state, you can feel that you are in the world, but not of it. Being of the world means that you attach value to everything you observe with your senses: violence, war, illness, destruction. If you regard these with your physical senses, only you can easily get angry. Therefore, we ask you to take a step backwards and to feel inwardly what spiritual dynamics are taking place in the things that upset you. There is a secret meaning in suffering. Each soul, each living being on earth is here to unfold itself, to express itself, and to learn more about what it is to be human and spirit at the same time. Each soul proceeds according to its own path of development, and you are asked to respect this, to take a step backwards and to concentrate entirely on yourself, on your own light. The energy, the truth, the vibration that you radiate as a result invites people or animals or plants to come into your energy field and experience a healing vibration. This is the work you came for. There is no need for you to stand on the barricades. There is no need for you to fight for this. Your real spiritual work is not a doing, but a being. When your spiritual energy is in balance, the healing energy you send forth to others flows easily and effortlessly, without physical or mental exertion. It feels light and smooth and not exhausting to you. Things and people show up spontaneously on your path and turn to you for healing. Each time you lock yourself in indignation and anger, even if it concerns injustice or suffering that you find unbearable to watch, I ask you to step backwards and move into the center of yourself. Enter the silence and accept that things are as they are. Accept that everything completes its own cycle and has its own development, including the people who are dearest to you. Set them free too. It is enough to be there for them, nothing more and nothing less. Number 2, spiritual depression. A second pitfall I would like to address is depression or melancholy. I have just described in broad outline a history in which you all as lightworkers have fallen prey to resistance, persecution, and violence. This has left scars on your soul. It may have hurt you so deeply that you have lost the courage to let your light shine once more into this world. You may frequently feel depressed, and life may seem meaningless to you. You may feel that you are unwelcome in this world, that you do not fit in with your kind of energy. You feel that you are different. Feelings of depression or gloominess result from a lack of self-confidence. On the one hand, you may know very well that you carry a spiritual light within, that you are a sensitive, compassionate, and wise person. But on the other hand, there is a wounded child inside of you who wants recognition and appreciation from the outside world. There is a part of you that craves external attention and safety. But you never seem to get enough of this, or you cannot find the sort of recognition you really seek because you are different. Often your environment does not recognize the real you, and therefore cannot acknowledge and nourish you. Your wounded inner child will never be healed by something from the outside, but only by yourself, your own power and wisdom. It is in taking care of your own pain and sorrow, and in having faith in yourself at times when no one else has it, that you really achieve self-confidence. Once you have opened up this source of power, you will attract a physical and social environment which supports you in your deepest aspirations. Everyone who suffers from spiritual melancholy or depression experiences a strong desire to transcend earthly reality and return to a realm of harmony and light in which peace and safety prevail. To all of you I ask, I pray to your souls to trust and stand firm in your inner light again. The light that provides love and security is available to you here and now. It is burning in your own heart, and it is only asking for you to focus your attention upon it again. We in the beyond are eager to lighten your burden, but no one can help you as long as you do not believe in your own light and kindle it yourself. It is extremely important not to let yourself be bogged down by feelings of despondency or depression. This is a dangerous pitfall in which you could lose your way completely because you would lose touch with who you really are, the angel, the creature of light who dwells within you. During moments of depression or nostalgia, it can be helpful to be quiet and merely breathe. Be aware of the movement of breathing throughout your body, and with each inhalation and exhalation, you can say out loud or softly within, I am who I am. I am good as I am. I surround you with my light. Once you have slightly opened the gate to more self-confidence, to a feeling of self-respect that really stems entirely from your inner self, the light will shine inside, the light of our own greater self, the light of the Christ energy, and the light of all the helpers, guides, and angels who support and love you from the realms around the earth. The time of transformation has arrived. Right now, when the time is difficult, I ask you to continue with heads held high and to focus on the horizon of the new era. A reality of harmony and love is waiting for you. It is your inheritance, and many of you will taste this even in this lifetime. The key is to have faith in yourself and to trust that you will be given all that you need. Do not fear the dark, for the light inside you is stronger. Your light will never be defeated. The reality of light is waiting in love and patience until you extend your hand and open the gate. Number 3, fear of your own strength. Finally, I want to mention another obstacle that causes a lot of commotion in your emotional body. I am still talking here about energies which restrain you from achieving inner peace and clarity. It may be anger, it may be depression, but it may also be fear, and this is the third obstacle. Fear has mainly to do with a lack of trust in your own inspirations, feelings, and intuitions. If you doubt your own feelings, you worry a lot and you invoke a whole series of emotions which take you further and further away from your center. When you are full of fear, your intuition is blocked. The intellect and the emotions gain the upper hand and subsequently create a panic-stricken and chaotic situation. The intellect and the emotions need the intuition, the heart, as a foundation. Only then can they serve you in a useful way. If you leave out the heart, the intellect will work overtime and the emotions will not have a moment's peace. Then fear may get a grip on you and manifest itself in all kinds of situations. You may doubt your ability to do the things you are normally capable of doing. You may start to question the self-evident and make a problem out of everything. There is a kind of nervousness inside you which makes it impossible to be with yourself in a quiet and peaceful way. The key here is to set yourself free from all the worrying and to go back to your heart, to your feelings. What do you really feel underneath all those restless thoughts and confused emotions? In breathing calmly in your belly, you are able to go back to your foundation. Then you may feel a relief inside, a point of silence which is beyond your thoughts and emotions. You may then experience the thoughts and emotions that you have as a cloud surrounding you, a cloud that you can focus your attention on or not. You will then have recovered your sense of freedom, your ability to choose a certain thought or emotion. If you believe that your thoughts are true or your emotions are true, you will be entirely absorbed by them and you will keep on following the track of these thoughts and emotions. But it is possible to step backwards and say, "Stop! I leave these thoughts and emotions for what they are, and I am going back. I am going more deeply into myself, and I will feel what is really going on, why I am harboring these thoughts and emotions now." As soon as you take that step backwards, you will rediscover your own strength. Your self-confidence will again flow freely. The dark clouds will dissolve, and peace and clarity will return. This step must be repeated frequently, since the intuitive nature, the living from the heart, has not yet become self-evident to you. Therefore, you experience a lot of fear. You are releasing old certainties. No more do you rely unconditionally on what your father and mother told you, on what your teachers taught, or on the rules your superiors prescribed to you. You do not blindly trust the results of the intellect or of science anymore. And you also know how unstable your emotions can be, and that they are not a measure of truth either. Because you have released all these certainties, and that is a sign of strength, fears may turn up and you may feel like you're drifting around by yourself on a rough ocean. However, it is exactly this situation that really forces you to go inside and to feel from deep within, from your own unique foundation, who am I? What is my position in this world? I do not let myself be guided by the external world, but only by my own inner compass. It is this very compass through which you will enter the new earth. Every time you make contact with this inner center and take a step backwards, you will find a renewed clarity within your soul. From there, you can watch your emotions without being absorbed by them. You can watch your anger and send it love. You can observe your depression and lend yourself a helping hand. You can look at your fear and send it the energy of deliverance. You are your own Messiah. There is no Messiah outside of you. There are thousands of Messiahs willing to reach out to you, but only you can open the gate of your heart and accept the light. This is basically what the coming of the new era is about. You opening up your hearts. You are the ones who actually live on earth. We are the helpers. You are the ones who take action, and for that we can only show the deepest respect. We are always available to you to let you share in our love and our light. You are brave. You are courageous. You are the warriors of the new era. I ask you to believe in yourself and your mission. And every time when you feel overwhelmed by heavy emotions or by dark thoughts, take a moment's rest and connect to your inner self, the center of silence within. That is the anchor of the new era. The anchor has been dropped already. Peace already exists in your heart. The only thing you need to do now is to return to it, time after time, to keep anchoring yourself once more to that focus of peace and clarity. Do not get stuck in drama and commotion. Emotional turmoil is not a friend of truth. But do rely on the quiet, peaceful, and clear voice of your heart and be aware that you are not alone. We stay next to you with every single step you take on this path. I love you, and I ask you to accept my energies of love among you. It is my ardent wish to serve you at this historical moment and to support you on your sometimes laborious way to the light. Accept my love. End of chapter. All right, thank you again so much for listening to another reading, and I appreciate you sticking around for my 2 cents. I always like to give kind of a little feedback and context for how these channelings have impacted me, and just a little, I guess, mini update on my own journey. But really, I love that Jeshua is talking here about this moment where things really get kind of darkest before the dawn, and how it's going to bring up all of our collective trauma as humanity in this moment before ascension, basically. And so we are being confronted with our demons and our past and our struggles through the misidentification of ourselves as separate from our source, from our divinity. And I know for me that's really come up in a very powerful way over the last 4 to 5 years. That's at least when I finally started to face this deep, deep well of feeling within me that I had been trying to suppress to be a good Christian, to keep things kind of status quo with family and friends and all that. And now I'm in this brand new undefined space where I'm kind of making it up as I go and realizing that there's so much more freedom and creativity in just trusting and embracing that I'm walking a path for a reason, and the things that come into my life for a reason. There are opportunities for me to learn different lessons that my soul wanted to learn that maybe as a human feel unnecessary or like, why is this happening? But something I've also heard lately is some of the channelings from Bashar through Daryl Anka, and I found that to be pretty profound as well, as far as just this idea that we're meant to be leaning into what gives us a spark of, like, whatever seems like the most exciting thing to do in each moment is the thing we're supposed to be pursuing until it basically plays out to its end and we're no longer excited by it. Then we move to the next thing. And that seems, childish and pedantic, right? We're not supposed to just do the first thing that pops in our head. And that's not really what Bashar is saying either. It's more that we are checking in with our own deep feelings, and we are running with the thing that gives us the most connection to that playful, creative part of ourselves. So to me, that's a beautiful idea, that we are entering a time where there will be much more empowerment for the things that excite you, the moment of inspiration, and the things that are kind of right now difficult to really interact with or grab hold of. I know for me, I feel like I'm in this weird in-between place right now of figuring out like who I am and who I want to be. What do I want to do vocationally beyond, working on a podcast and painfully, slowly trying to write a book and all the different kind of just day-to-day household stuff that I do. But I think we're all really in a crazy cool time to be on Earth, where it doesn't feel all that cool with the tensions going on and everything looking like it's spiraling towards World War III or climate apocalypse or nuclear apocalypse or ego apocalypse. I mean, there's so many different things that are coming to an end that make it look like it's the end. And it is the end of the old world. But that's a relief because the old world has sucked. Right? I mean, I'm ready for it to be different. I don't know about you, but I am so ready to embrace an entirely different paradigm. But really everything that I've taken in says that we have to be, more of us than not, have to be in tune with wanting a change. We don't all have to agree on Jeshua channelings or Bashar channelings or Cryon or Ra or whatever it is. We can have our own individual inspirations, but we need to be collectively desiring a different planet that embraces love, unity, and a flow instead of this tense, violent, weird, restrictive, gatekeeping type of world we live in. So, yeah, I'm really so excited about what the future holds for all of us. And I hope that during this really, really weird time in American history especially, and just world history, that you will find that love and light within yourself when pretty much everything around you might look like it's growing dim. And just trust that we can manifest a new world, and we will. It's our inevitability, because the inner light that is within us does not tolerate being lost in the dark. There is a certain point where it finally pushes back and says, okay, this far, but no further. We're going back the other way now. You know, we can't be spiraled out into chaos and lost forever. That's not even possible within this situation that we've created for ourselves. So don't ever fear that you can be lost to an eternal hell or something like that. That is a man-made humanistic idea. But, you know, you have to find that within yourself. You can't just take my word for it or a different channeler. You know, we're still again needing to be in charge of our own light. So I'm kind of more just like a flashing light, like a beacon of light that is expressing my own truth. And if that naturally attracts people, then great. If it helps people find their own light, then that's even better. That's what I'm really here to do, is to tap into my own inner divinity and to help others have the same tools to be able to do that for themselves. But just remember, it always comes back to love. It sounds cheesy, it sounds cliche to say that, but you have to love and forgive yourself before you can really truly love and forgive anyone else with any kind of quality or depth. You may think that you can hate yourself and love others. I used to think that, but I was not living that out. That was not the energy I was putting out there. People could feel my resistance to myself, which manifested in resistance to them, which manifested in judgment towards them for, why aren't they better either? Why are we all so sucky? Why isn't there a hero that I can look up to as that this is what's possible as a human? That's not what we're supposed to do. We can have guides and help, but we're ultimately here to wake up to our own light and divinity. And Yeshua is not our savior. He is our friend, and he is a guide to help point us back to our own illumination. So I think I've probably made the same point like 5 times in a row here, so I apologize for the redundancy. I guess I can't stress enough that love and forgiveness are the key, and that you can't put your hopes and fears in someone like mine's arena of energy. That has to be your own quest. So be well on that quest. Do it with love and light in your heart. Remember that this is just a beautiful and weird dream that you concocted, that you are behind, and that you chose to be a part of. And that helps take away the victimhood, the sting of, why is this happening to me? And instead we can ask, what do I do with it now? What can I make of this? What opportunities are within this experience? So that's my trip, at least. And again, I thank you so much for listening. Please check out the playlist on the YouTube channel. I have all of the Jeshua channelings that I've read to this point. So eventually it will be a complete book, although kind of in the order I read it, not exactly in the order the book goes, because that's just how I roll, baby. I'm a little bit off kilter and non-traditional. So make sure you like and subscribe if you're into this stuff. I think it does help. I'm not really that concerned about having some commercially successful channel, but I would like these words to reach as many people as possible. So, share it with your friends. Tell somebody who you think might be interested. You can tell them the guy who hosts it's kind of weird, but the channelings are really great. Whatever you want to say. I'm cool with whatever. So thanks again. And you can email me at youhavethekeys639@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at youaretheoneyouseek. And as always, please go in love and light, be well, and namaste.